In this video, I'll give you an overview of what exactly is functional breathing. It's effectively reminding your body how to breathe optimally. It's looking at how you're breathing day to day in any given moment, and how we breathe during rest influences the way we breathe during our physical exercise, stress, and sleep. And when we bring a conscious awareness to our breath, we can impact our overall health and well-being. So functional breathing is nasal breathing. The breathing is not labored, it's more effortless. There's a natural pause after the exhalation. So our breath actually has 4 parts: inhale, pause, exhale, a natural pause. And so the last step of functional breathing is also the recruitment of the diaphragm. So breathing rather than from in the chest down into the diaphragm. So if we broadly summarize that functional breathing is looking at 3 key areas. We're looking at biochemical, which is ultimately increasing our tolerance to CO2. We're looking at biomechanical, which is recruitment and the use of the diaphragm muscle. So the diaphragm is a muscle, and we can strengthen that through conscious practices. We're also looking at the psychosocial aspect, so how our thoughts and emotions impact our nervous system and our overall body. So a single thought or how we perceive an event can have a cascade of physiological events in the body-mind. And so we bring, and that can impact our breathing, our function of breathing. So we can bring a conscious awareness to our breath and actually positively and beautifully impact our overall state of mind and body and the quality of our thoughts with a regular practice. So with that in mind, breathing for any person can be both unconscious and conscious. So unconscious means it just happens without us having to think about it, whereas conscious breathing is when we bring an awareness to the breath. So we place our attention on it, and we might alter it in some way. We might slow the breath, we might deepen the breath, we might add a count to the breath. So when it comes to breathing, because of the nature of breathing and not having to think about it, much of our breathing is driven by the unconscious or subconscious. And so in that way, our function of breathing can be compromised by past traumas, our stresses, and even just our environment. And that can be, our environment might be work, or we live in a city, or we have many demands of our energy and time. And so that naturally drives the way we breathe, because we might be in a more sympathetic tone, for example. So the function and the quality of our breath can be a fairly reliable indicator and determinant for our overall state of body-mind health. So there are various tests that we'll implement when we first start to assess someone in their function of breathing, and we will tailor practices to suit the state of that particular person's individual mental and physical health. So if you head to hollyshoebridge.com, there's a blog that says, it's titled "What is Functional Breathing?" and you'll see a non-exhaustive list of how functional breathing can help with myriad health outcomes. So it's a non-exhaustive list, but it gives you an idea of just how far-reaching and how powerful conscious breathing and functional breathing can be for our overall physical health and well-being. So with all of that in mind, I'll leave you with a simple practice. It's a very well-known, very common practice across many different breathing teachings, whether you follow pranayama, Buteyko method, various other practices. This one's very common because it is so effective. So it's my favorite, and it's facilitating significant positive effects within the body, mind, and our nervous system. It's simply this. We pause where we are, relax into our position, feel into our body. You might like to shut your eyes, or if you're driving, or if you're out and about, you can even do this when you're walking or through the grocery store. We implement nasal breathing. And we're going to bring a count to the breath. So we're going to inhale for 4 and exhale for 6. And if we do that for 4 to 6 minutes, depending on how we're feeling when we start the breath practice, we will start to feel some potential down regulation in the nervous system. You might start to feel a bit sleepy or relaxed. And if you want a bonus sort of addition to step into that parasympathetic state, add a hum on the exhale to stimulate the vagus nerve. It's actually called vagal toning. And so you'll breathe in for 4, you breathe out for 6, and on that exhale, you'll throw in a hum. So you might make an om sound, om, or hum, whatever's comfortable for you. And if that count of 4, inhale for 4, exhale for 6 is not, it's too long or it's uncomfortable, start with inhale for 2, exhale for 3, or inhale for 3, exhale for 5. And you might, as you continue with the practice, even in the immediate first practice, you might notice a natural extension of the breath as you settle into it. And if you practice this regularly, you'll start to notice that your inhale and your exhale might increase, lengthen over time as you become more tolerant to CO2 and other benefits are being felt in the body-mind. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, reach out via the contact page at hollyshoebridge.com or on Instagram or on Facebook or on email, but everything's via hollyshoebridge.com.